Welcome back to the Gabfocus Self-Storage Podcast, where we talk about all things self-storage, focusing on owners, operators, managers, and all the best practices. Speaking of practice, all the best practices that go into running a self-storage facility successfully. That's a tongue twister. I'm Josh.
I'm Melissa. Hey, y'all.
We are with Lighthouse Storage Solutions, and we're back. It's been a minute.
Well, we tried. We tried
what?
really hard.
we tried doing the video.
Well, we told everyone we were like, we're moving to video. We're not. We tried. We tried. I cannot tell you how many different areas of our house we tried to set up as a video studio, or it's just logistically, for the way our business operates, it just can't happen.
Well, and one of the reasons is because it's just the two of us. We don't have a whole team.
We don't have a whole
to
team
put together stuff.
Yeah.
And this is just more comfortable. So if you're looking for video of us or want to see our beautiful faces, you'll just have to come to one of the events that we're at, or set up a video call and ask us questions.
And even logistically though, we're not home most of the time, it feels like. And when we have video recordings to do, but we're in a hotel room, it's just not always.
Yeah.
Just doesn't always make sense, and we can't take our studio with us.
So today we're going to get into vetting your third-party vendors, or vendor accountability, or don't be hoodooed by your vendor, as you'll say later on.
Yes.
We recorded this a couple months ago, actually, and I've been waiting to put this one out.
It was in January.
It was in a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's still very
it's
relevant.
Almost April.
Yeah. Do you even know what day it is?
No.
It's almost April. It's been 2 months. So it's been a bit. But in the meantime, a little bit about us. If you are just getting introduced to us for the first time, or just like, what has been going on? Why haven't they recorded anything? We've been a little busy.
At least 3 times a week we've said, hey, do you want to record a podcast this week? Yes, definitely.
So
and then it doesn't happen.
Melissa, give a 60-second, 2-minute overview of what have you been up to these last 2 months that has occupied your time and kept you with Haviland Storage Services, consulting, just all the stuff. What have you been up to?
Oh gosh, what have I not been doing? I've been hiring employees. I've been vetting a lot of vendors, honestly, which is what we're going to talk about today. I have been doing consulting. I've been doing facility audits. I feel like every aspect of Lighthouse Storage Solutions has been at full speed. And so we've been in all kinds of different directions. You've been doing drone stuff, been doing websites. There's so many things going on in every aspect of the business. So we've been very, very busy.
Yeah. And you've also, because this partnership started, just getting to know even employees, doing property visits,
So
been
I've
out to
spent time in California. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've had a lot going on. You've had procedures manuals that you've been touching up for other companies too,
Yes.
and for Haviland.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot. And we've been traveling a lot. Some of that has been me. We had a big audit. If you saw our LinkedIn post, we audited 17 different facilities in about 2 weeks for a group that we work with. And I did drone photography. We did evaluations.
Well,
I've
and
been
for
touching
those
up
of
websites.
you that know us, you know that 99% of our travel is done together, because we are we team up when we do these different projects. But for the last month, we've actually had to divide and conquer. You've literally gone to one side of the nation and I've gone to the other at times. And we've just been passing each other in the air. It's been kind of crazy.
Yeah, it has been very crazy. So with all that said, we are back. We're hoping to get to more of a regular schedule of podcasting. And we're starting with what I think is a very important episode, especially leading up to the Inside Self-Storage Conference that's coming up in just a few weeks. So more on that at the end of the episode. But for now, let's get back to you and I and talking about vetting your vendors.
Not getting hoodooed by your vendors.
Don't get hoodooed. That's right. All right, here we go. What is our topic today that we're discussing?
This actually comes from a conversation I had with a client today of evaluating, I don't know what title you gave it, but it's evaluating the job that your vendor's doing for you.
It's like keeping your vendors accountable.
Yes.
Keeping your vendors accountable. So this is any vendor. This could be your lawn mowing guy, your landscaping guy. I've only had one sip. This could be your software provider. This could be somebody that is doing marketing for you. Anybody that you are paying for a service,
Yep.
We're going to give some tips because we get asked all the time questions like, so I'm paying this vendor to do this, but I'm not sure they're really doing it. They might be doing it, but I'm not sure how to even know if they're doing what I'm paying them
Mhm.
for.
Yeah.
So we wanted to give you guys a couple tips and tricks, ways that you can stay on top of things so you're getting what you pay
Yeah,
for. Because that's
exactly.
nothing more frustrating than being like, oh, I've been paying $1,000 a month for this. Come to find out
Mhm.
they're not actually doing what I'm paying them for. And sometimes it's just a simple miscommunication where they thought they were doing exactly what you were paying them for. Sometimes you just thought they were going to be doing something and
Sometimes
they're
you
like,
got
hey,
hooded.
I'll
Yeah.
keep taking the paycheck.
Yeah. Like I said, this conversation came up with a client today who called wanting some consulting services. And so we're talking about his project. And one of the things I like to find out is, what does your tech stack look like? And what are you like? How is your business already set up so that I can know how I can best help you? And in talking about his tech services, as I was asking him questions, he's like, "Yeah, I think I have somebody that does that." "Oh, well, I know I pay a fee for this. I think that's being covered." And there were a lot of those things that was his answer was, "I think I have somebody doing that part."
Yeah, and this was a guy, he's developing his property, so he's not using is this the guy that's in development?
No, this he already has property going too. So the
Oh, he does, okay.
different
So
client.
he's already using
Yeah.
of these
So it's
guys, okay, okay.
already using stuff, but and he thinks he has stuff in place or it has people doing things. And as I was naming off specifics, because we were actually talking about the website, about like SEO and advertising and who's doing your Google ads and that kind of thing. I started getting into different things that he wasn't quite sure. I think someone's handling all that because when I hired them to do marketing, that means they're doing all those things, right?
Yeah.
And it was just very unknown as to what he knows he's paying someone to do this broad term marketing. And where he's not in marketing, doesn't really understand all the things that go into it from website perspective, online presence, all that kind of thing. He's not sure what that should even entail and if what he's paying for is actually covering that.
Yeah.
So,
So and that gets to our very first thing,
yeah.
and this is almost, a precursor to figuring out what your vendors like, how to keep them accountable, and that is you gotta know what your contract says
Mhm.
in all the details, so that way you can avoid thinking, "Well, I contracted for this thing." So, like, for instance, if you have a landscaping thing, it might say, mow the lawn. And in your brain, you think that means they're going to mow the lawn
And
and
trim the
then they're going to
bushes
trim the
and
bushes. They're going
yeah,
to blow off the sidewalks when they're finished. They're going to weed eat around the side
they're
so
gonna
that the
clean
lawn
out the
looks done.
ditch line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they may see the contract being like, mow the lawn. Sweet. All I have to do is mow. I don't have to blow up anything. I don't have to weed
Mhm.
eat. So know what your contract says.
Yeah. And actually talk through all those details.
Yeah.
Like what actually ask the vendor, explain to me when you say you're doing this, like for instance, when you say you're doing SEO. Because we feel like we get a lot of questions
Yeah.
around
Let's
SEO
let's just use that
specifically. Yeah.
as an
So
example.
let's just use that as the example. Um, when your vendor tells you they're going to do your SEO for you, have them break that down. What does that actually look like? What does that mean in real terms that I can see? What is the product going to that I can verify that
Yeah.
this has been done? Because your perception of what that is versus what they think they are agreeing to do could be two totally different things.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, we're almost afraid to ask those questions
Yeah.
because we don't wanna look like we're stupid or that we don't know what we're
Mhm.
talking about. So, your vendor may say, "Oh, yeah, well, we do SEO maintenance, every month, and that's included in your $300
Mhm.
fee," or whatever. And you might be sitting there thinking, "Well, SEO sounds important. I've heard that. I guess that sounds good,
Especially
so y sure." And you might not say, "Okay, what do you do every month for SE" like, can you just
right.
walk me through that as if I was, like, a 5th grader? What is
Especially
that?
if when they answer the questions, they come back with a lot of terminology that you don't understand, then that makes it even easier to back off and say, "Well, I don't wanna ask any more questions because I am gonna look like an idiot. I'm gonna look like I don't know what I'm talking about." And it does kinda scare you away from digging in a little more.
Yeah.
I think be very upfront. Say, put this in layman's terms for me. What does this actually mean you're going to do?
Yeah. You're
And
hiring this
yeah,
company because you don't know how to do it.
right,
So there's an expectation that you aren't sure. And
right.
so you don't want this to be like an auto mechanic situation where they're like, "Oh yeah, the Huber fastener is loose and needs an extra duplex washer." And you're like, "Well, that
Exactly.
sounds important." Like
Yeah.
ask those questions. And especially now that you have stuff like ChatGPT and Gemini,
Yeah.
especially if they give you a written proposal, ask those questions. Say, "Hey, I just got my contract. What should this include?" And talk to me as if I'm a sixth grader or something.
Mhm.
So be clear though on what all those things are.
Well, yes, and ask them what okay, I get that you're gonna do a lot of things behind the scenes. What am I going to see as the result of
Yeah,
this? And that I will be able to verify. And that communicates to them too that you're watching, you want to see that the work is being done. And so what you want them to explain that right out of the gate,
yeah,
so that you know what to be looking for.
exactly. So that's step number one. Now you may get to a point where you're looking at a contract and you are like, maybe you're thinking, I'm not a technical person. I just got this chatbot for my website. I have no idea how it works. They just told me that it would be able to do all this
Yeah.
stuff. How do I keep them accountable? So
Mhm.
some of that might mean doing an extra demo or two with their tech team.
Mhm.
Some of that might mean talking to a fellow storage operator, maybe in another state or in the area, but it's not a direct competitor that has the same product, and see like how has this worked for you?
Mhm.
What are good questions I should ask? But you brought up something we were talking earlier, and that is the benefit of trade shows to really figuring out what should I be getting from my vendor.
Yeah.
Like I've hired X company for my software provider, and I think they're doing a good job, but how do they stack up against others? Like,
Well,
what should they be offering me?
yeah, so that's kinda twofold. A couple of episodes we talked about, I think it was at the first of the year, we
Mhm.
talked about, call up your vendor that you've been using for 5 years, 6 years, and say, "Hey, I want a fresh demo," because I'm sure you've made some advances and that you're doing things a little different. I wanna make sure I'm taking advantage of all those things. So, tell me all the bells and whistles. I want to know
Yeah.
what those look like today, especially when you're talking about technology, software, those sorts of things. Even your call center, they're constantly developing new things that could just totally be off your radar.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, we just dealt with a client a month or so ago. Well, I guess it's within the last month. They were using an old version of the software. And the software company didn't realize that they hadn't been upgraded to the new one yet. And the customer's getting really frustrated, thinking, oh my gosh, what's wrong with my software? They hadn't been transferred to the new
Yeah,
version.
exactly.
And they were honestly to the point of, I want to switch software. And, if they hadn't gone through the process of having that demo, they could have very well lost that customer.
Mhm.
But now the customer is upgrading to the new version and everybody's happy and it was truly a win-win for everybody. So call up your vendors and find that out. But at the trade show floor, not only can you go see the people that you're, already doing business with, but you can kind of poke your head into those other booths and kind of see, okay, wait a minute, they say that their service covers these 5 things. I'm only getting 2 of those. I need to go back to my vendor again and say, "Hey, am I missing something?" Because they very well may offer those missing 3 things, you just don't realize it.
Yeah.
So, do a little, compare and
Yeah.
contrast and
And
yeah.
and if it's a good vendor, they're not going to be annoyed that you're asking these questions.
No.
I think sometimes as the on the customer side, we think, "Oh, I don't want to pester them with a lot of questions. They're busy or they're going to get, they're not going to give me good service." Just like if it's a
Mhm.
waitress and you ask too many things about, is she going to spit in my food? What are they going to do? But
No.
the vendors should be more than willing to answer these questions.
Yeah.
They would want a customer that is invested in their product, that wants to get the most out of it. So ask all of these things and don't be afraid to repeat your questions.
Mhm.
And honestly, a warning sign would be if the vendor keeps coming back with things like, "Oh, don't worry about that. We'll take care of it. Oh, yeah, you don't need to understand all those different things. Just know that it'll work." Or
Yeah.
be cautious about those things if they're just kind of brushing off. "Oh, yeah, we've got that handled."
Mhm.
Um, and then I also hear the comments not infrequently from vendors when I ask what I ask them is, "So would you see this other company as your competitor, how do you stack up to them? Because I've heard some things about them.
Mhm.
So I mean, two of the big ones right now are what, like, SiteLink and Cubby are two big ones. Quick, there's a ton of them. So you might go to your SiteLink rep and you might say, so how do you compare to Cubby?
Mhm.
And they may say something like, oh, we do all, but we're way better. We're just, we're there's not. And then you go to Cubby and like, how do you compare to SiteLink? I mean, we do what they do, but we're way better. So like you're gonna hear that a
Right.
lot.
Yeah.
So dig into that. Why are you better? What
Mhm.
sets you apart? Why do you think that they're not even really in the same level of competition as you? What are those things? And then am I getting that out of my
Right.
competitor? Because I remember hearing a couple things from one of the guys I talked to even just this past week. And as he was telling me all the ways that he was better than his competitor, I'm like, I just did a demo with your competitor and they actually do all these
They do
things
those things.
that
Yeah.
you're saying that they don't do. So
It's
so
like a
be
trust
informed.
trust but verify kind of thing.
Trust but verify.
But again, and we have talked about this with the vendors before, um, always check with someone who actually uses the product.
You gotta catch up.
Not necessarily, the owner of the facility, but check with a manager who actually day in and day out uses this product, and they will
Yeah.
tell you what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
The As far as the technical side and being able to explain the details of how things work, um, they should be able to, even if it is a very technical thing, they should at least be able to give it to you in terms that you can understand.
Right.
Like, I don't know how my car works. Okay, I just know that it does. But in talking to a mechanic and in talking to, my side research with ChatGPT or whatever, I, we can usually figure out if we're being completely hoodooed, right?
Yeah.
So,
No. So like hoodwinked or like
you've never heard that before?
hoodooed? Okay. Hoodooed.
Anyway.
Don't be hoodooed by your vendor. Maybe we should call that
Oh
should be
my
the title of
gosh,
it.
don't be hoodooed, there you go. But they should still be able to explain even the most, technical of products that they have, basically how it works and what you
Yeah.
can expect from it. And they should also give you some reporting.
Right. And that gets to the question of like, so what does it do? And then
Mhm.
how can I check on my end to make sure it's doing what it's
Right.
supposed to be doing?
Right.
Some of the things are super obvious, like if the lawn's not mowed,
Right.
your landscaping team's not working. If somebody can't rent online and you paid for online rentals, it's not working. And
Mhm.
those are obvious things, but there's some more subtle things that are more maintenance, like SEO,
Mhm.
um, like some of the other behind the scenes
A
things
lot
that
of
you can see
marketing
with
stuff.
reporting. Yeah.
Well, a lot of marketing, needs to have some reporting
Yeah,
with
Google
it.
Ads, that
Yeah,
kind of
when
thing.
you're talking about setting up keywords and ads and things like that, there needs to be some information of this is what we've tried. These were the results because that information is readily available, through your website,
Yeah,
Google, that sort of thing. And this provider should be able to say, this is what we've done.
exactly.
Here were the results.
Yeah.
Here's where we chose to make some changes. Here were those results. And there should be a clear picture of that. But a lot of times when we go to our clients and we say, hey, get these reports so we can help you review them and we will help explain them to you, they can't get reports
Yeah,
from a lot of vendors. And it's very frustrating. Your work should be able to be verified, that
exactly.
it's actually being done.
Yeah.
So
So know what's in your contract with your vendor.
clear
Uh,
expectations on both sides.
have clear expectations. Know what's in the contract. And not just like I have the contract, but have it explained so that you
Right.
understand at least enough to know what you should expect.
Hmm.
Ask for clear reporting so you can check that the work is being done. And then to find out more, trade shows are a good thing to go to kind of get familiar with those things, or ask other users that are similar to you how they are experiencing the product. Whoa,
He's heavy.
he's good.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good. All right. All right. And then we have one last thing, which is important. Do you remember what the last one is?
I have no idea.
Bring in a professional.
Oh.
So if you don't know enough about marketing, if you don't know enough
Yeah.
about your operations, and maybe your vendor is a third party management company that's running it all for you, and you're not sure, like, I feel like these rate increases should be a little bit different, or our occupancy, they say that it's not a big deal that our occupancy isn't going up because the rates are being raised and we're still making money, but is that right? You should bring in a
An
an
impartial observer.
impartial observer, like a consultant, somebody that you trust
Mhm.
that has no skin in the game, that can just tell you like it is and say, "Yep, they're doing great. This, and if there was maybe one thing to change, I would maybe ask them this specific question."
Mhm.
But yeah, sometimes you do need that because that's like we said at the beginning, that's why you bring in these vendors because you don't know how to program a keypad. You
Right.
don't want to mow your lawn. You don't know how to build a website, so you bring in somebody else to do that for you.
Right. And well, to use the car example, when we've had major auto issues going on and we've taken the vehicles into a mechanic and we're like, I don't know if this is legit that they're telling us or not. We call the people in our life who work on vehicles for a living and say, hey, so this is what we were told. This is what the problem is. And, let them feedback and say, no, he's completely wrong about that. You need to ask them this question. Oh,
Yeah.
and that has helped us so many times to just be better informed on the questions we need to ask. And we've even been told, okay, you need to tell them that this thing right here is happening because that will help them understand. Oh, okay. I never would have thought that that impacted it. So bringing in someone who's very familiar with it and who, like you said, completely impartial can make all the difference.
Yeah.
So,
And um, w- whether you're have very little to do with your operation, like you have a third party management company, or you're very invested,
mhm.
you should know that there's nothing about self storage that's set it and forget it.
No.
That you can just set it up and then I just let it run. Even the owners that we work with that are very, very uninvested and they just kind of just give me my paycheck or my monthly draw and then I'm good. They still ask questions. How's occupancy? How's the business? They still have
If you
some
aren't
questions.
asking questions and you have just put your property on a set it and forget it, let me know because I've got people who would want to buy your property.
Or we
Like,
could come in and rent your property for you in a better way and make
yeah,
you more money.
because if you're not watching it, there's definitely problems.
Yeah.
Something needs to be fixed
Yeah,
somewhere. I
definitely.
promise.
So
Yeah.
so keep your vendors accountable. That's
Mhm.
not a set it and forget it type of a thing.
And that's not a knock on the vendors.
No, that
That I mean,
hopefully
we use vendors day in and day out for all of our services,
you have
and
to.
oh my goodness, yes, you absolutely have to. But things that aren't watched, they do kind of start slipping,
Yeah.
and so this is just
And
a way to keep everything honest.
what's funny is we do this so much in our personal life, like we have a Netflix account and I make sure like yeah, we've paid for 4K a picture and we've paid for 2 users at a time and you can bet if that stops working, I'm going to place a phone call or look at like what's going on with this.
Mhm.
It's not just a well, I think I'm getting what I'm supposed to, but
Mhm.
also on the flip side, we all have subscriptions that we've totally forgotten about.
Yeah.
So don't leave your business like that. Make sure you know what's going on, where the money is going, that you're getting your money's worth. See if you can renegotiate some of those things, even if they're not doing all the things that they promised. But
Right.
hopefully, your vendors will welcome that and they'll be like, oh, thank you. Like, we can prove ourselves and how awesome we're doing
Right.
and earn your business even more. And then if someone asks you, hey, I'm not real sure about my software provider. Do you have somebody that you recommend? 'Cause I'm thinking about making a change. You can say, oh, this company has been fantastic. They're totally open books. They're really easy to
Mhm.
understand, great to work with. And you want to be that person, not the one that's like, not really sure about what I'm getting out of this vendor.
And a good vendor who has a good product is not going to be offended by questions.
Yeah,
They're going to welcome them
exactly.
because
Yeah.
that gives them another opportunity to show you how good their product is and it gives them an opportunity to stand behind it.
Yeah.
So, that would be a red flag too if they were running from you. So,
Yep. Okay, so Melissa, wrapping things up, what are your recommendations, either related to this or just in general?
I think today I'm going to go related to this actual podcast because trade show season has kicked off. And I think the best recommendation actually was something we touched on for a little bit in the conversation earlier was go to your trade shows and actually talk to your vendors, not only to see your current vendors that you use, but to also do a little comparison shopping. Not that you're planning to leave them, but yeah, I explained all that already. But anyway, trade shows. So ISS is actually right around the corner. I think is like hands down if you have to choose one national show to go to because of budget, I this one's
Yeah.
amazing. And it's just in a couple of weeks. Um So ISS for sure, but then there's lots of state associations too that just do a killer job with their education value that they bring. Because a lot of the smaller state shows, they really focus on the education portion. So when you're going there, you're not just going for a cocktail party or going for lunch. You're actually going and you're going to hear from national speakers most of the time who are doing the circuit, and they're bringing you a lot of great education. So, and NISA, I would say, is definitely high on the list. Um,
Yeah, and then the other one that we would recommend, it's a new one. I'm actually not able to go this year, sadly, but you're going to be going, is the Modern Storage Media
Yep.
down in November.
Yep,
So
brand new one. Yep.
if you have a team like ours that can split up at times,
And you're not going because you're going to be in
yeah,
Texas.
I'm going to go to the Texas
which
show.
is another amazing state
Yeah,
show.
so the Texas show is having their Big Ideas conference
Mhm.
at the same time that MSM is having the show. So we will have affiliate codes for both the MSM show and the NISA show, which is coming up in May. So those will be in the comment section or the description of the episode below. For NISA, it is
Lighthouse 10.
Lighthouse 10, and for the show, it's going to be LSS 2026. So, and we'll have links to all that stuff in the show notes.
Yeah.
For my recommendation, it's sort of related to yours, and that is come to our workshop at the ISS thing. So if you are basically our target audience, owner, operator, manager, just looking to tune up how you run your facility from soup to nuts, everything, that is what we're going to be talking about at our opening workshop, 8:00 on Tuesday morning, the week of ISS. It's going to be on April the 7th. And we are talking about all things managing your facility, from marketing to rent increases to how to set your rates to how to maintain your facility, how to deal with disasters, maintenance schedules, training employees, how to do sales pitches, all that kind of stuff. We are spending 4 hours
It's a
talking
4-hour
about that.
dump of just operational information.
So if you are looking to get, and I know this is self-promotional, but if you're looking to get the most out of ISS, I would hit those two sections of workshops that are on Tuesday, the 8 to 12,
Yes.
and then I think it's 1 to 5. Get all of your questions written down, everything, and then hit the show from Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday, and get answers to all of your questions. Go
And
to
then
all your vendors
Friday-
and do all that stuff.
Friday, there's more workshops at
Yeah.
the end as well. And there is an extra fee for those workshops, but they are very targeted to very specific audiences.
Marketing, investing, building, all
Yeah,
that kind of
and
stuff.
it's a smaller crowd generally. You get to ask questions. It's a much more personal and very deep dive into the subject matter. And not to say that the other education is not fantastic, but this gives you just a little extra special touch. So I highly recommend, paying that extra for those pieces of the conference.
Definitely. All right. Well, that's about it for today. We will hopefully be back at it next week.
Well, yes, because we're going to put it on our calendar this time, so it actually happens.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We will talk at you later.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks for listening to the Gabfocus Self-Storage Podcast. If you appreciated what we had to say, please leave a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back next time to talk more about self-storage and all that goes into running your facility successfully. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for subscribing, and we will talk at you later.